my YouTube channel, #MovieBae. I am MovieBae, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the latest installment of the Scream franchise entitled Scream 6. But before I get to it though, I would like for y'all to drop down and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Because here on MovieBae, I do reviews, reactions, and commentary to movies and television. And if that's the type of content that you like, you might as well hit the subscribe button and stick around. And if you find yourself enjoying my commentary along the way, don't be afraid to give me a thumbs up and or drop a comment down below. It really helps your girl out with the algorithm. I should be at 1,000 subscribers by now. Like, let's stop playing with your girl. Stop playing with me. Anyways, the synopsis reads, in the next installment, the survivors of the Ghostface killings leave Woodsboro behind to start a fresh new chapter in New York City. So in Scream 6, we have Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera reprising their roles as the Carpenter sisters. We also have another pair of siblings, Mindy and Chad, who also survived the killings in Scream 5. Courtney Cox, aka Gail Weathers, is also back. And then we have Scream 4 fan favorite Kirby, played by Hayden Panettiere. She's also back. Now let me give my quick thoughts about that. Kirby died in Scream 4, you guys. Even though we did not want her to die, we were sad when she died, she died. But because of fans and online theories, I feel like the new creators decided to bring Kirby back to reprise her role. And they honestly could have left her out. She added nothing different to this film except for another fan favorite. So just a waste. Anyways, we also have 3 new characters, Ethan, Quinn, and who are roommates to Chad and the Carpenter sisters, as well as Annika, who is Mindy's new girlfriend. Tara and her friends decide to go to New York City in order to start college and basically to start over after the tragedy that they had just survived. Now, Sam obviously decides to follow Tara because she doesn't want her to be alone. And I probably wouldn't want to be alone either. Now, in this movie, we obviously see that the Carpenter sisters are on 2 different paths because they didn't have the closest relationship in Scream 5 anyways. Sam is seeing a therapist because after having had killed her boyfriend, Richie, she kind of developed a little bloodthirst. And her dad is Billy Loomis, who they keep calling a serial killer, but he was not a serial killer, you guys. He was a spree killer. That is one of the biggest things that annoys me in this movie. He was not a serial killer. A serial killer is a person who kills more than 3 people over extended periods of time, months, years. Billy Loomis and Stu, they were spree killers. They killed more than one person in the course of a day, no more than 2 days. Okay, like, let's be real. He's a spree killer, not a serial killer. Anyways, so Sam is starting to think that it might be hereditary, and then the main plot of this movie is other people might think that her bloodthirst is hereditary as well. Now, in true Scream fashion, you know we have to take a big name star and kill them off in the first 10 minutes of the movie. Here we have Samara Weaving, who I know from Ready or Not, and she is going to be the Drew Barrymore of Scream 6. Now, fun fact for those of you who didn't know, 1, Scream is my favorite scary movie. Scream is my favorite horror movie franchise. Now, in Scream 1, 1996, Drew Barrymore is the person who decided she was supposed to play Sidney Prescott, but she decided to play Casey Baker and get killed off in, and get killed off in the first 10 minutes of the movie. She decided that. Talk about legendary, because now that has become a horror movie trope. Not even just horror movie. If you think about Stump the Yard, for those of you who've seen it, Chris Brown was all on the posters, all in the trailer. We didn't know that he was going to die in the first 10 minutes of the movie until we got there, okay? So when I tell you that Scream is literally pioneered a lot of horror tropes, put some respect on this movie's name. Anyways, let's get back to this opening scene. What I like about this scene is that it was modernized. We have Samara Weaving, who's an adjunct professor who teaches horror film studies, right? Okay, y'all know it has to be meta, right? And she's on the phone with this guy who she met on a dating app because they're supposed to be meeting up for a date. He can't find the place, quote unquote. So that gets her to leave the bar and go into this dark alley to see if she can find him. And then, of course, she meets her untimely end. We find out that one of her students was the one who killed her. And that student, along with his roommate, had a plot to kill the Carpenter sisters, but then they were murdered. So it was kind of like a 2-for-1. It was, of course, we get our opening scene where the big star is murdered, but we also get this is who the killer's going to be. Psych, no, it's not. It's really going to be somebody else. So we get a whole misdirect in the first 10 minutes of the movie, which had me excited for what was next to come. So, of course, after our core four, our Carpenter sisters and the Meek siblings, after they get word that their classmates and professor have been murdered, they decide to band together because it's either going to be them or Ghostface. So they decide to band together in order to take Ghostface out. Now, this leads to, obviously, a series of scenes. I do want to highlight a couple of the scenes in this movie because they were just either good or had the potential to be good. So let's get into the first one, the bodega scene. Now, because Sam had been framed for the murder, the police call her down to come to the station. When her and her sister are on the way, they spot Ghostface on the street and they're chasing to this bodega. Now, this scene had the potential to be the best scene in the movie. However, because it was spoiled in the trailer, nothing was left for the imagination. It took all the suspense out of it because we already knew what was going to happen. What was good about this scene, though, is that it showed Ghostface in a more ruthless light. I mean, Ghostface was killing innocent civilians. He had a shotgun and his knife along with that. And it was supposed to be suspenseful and modernized, but it just wasn't because we had already seen it before. Another good scene in this movie was, of course, when we get Gale Weathers. There was not a lot of Courtney Cox in this movie. However, whenever she's on the screen, it's just nostalgic. One thing I like about Gale Weathers in her scenes is Gale is a smart character. You can tell that she has lived through decades of Ghostface killers because she doesn't act like a dumb teenager. She doesn't act like a regular horror movie character. She's smart. She does what everyone wants the characters to do. Ghostface gets in Gale's house and she makes the smart decisions of running to go get her gun. She shoots the gun a reasonably amount of times, okay? She doesn't use all her bullets in one setting, okay? And like I stated, she puts up hell of a fight. Gale is the character that makes the wise decisions in scary movies. The only thing I wish she had done was to put the damn phone down. First off, it's 2023. Why do you still have a house phone? Second off, you have a phone in one hand, the gun in the other. You need to be prepared for when they come out of the closet because you know they're in there. So, of course, Ghostface comes out. Gale does still put up a fight, but, of course, she ultimately ends up getting stabbed. But the moment the EMT says that her heart rate is faint, I knew she wasn't going to die. If you're going to kill Gale, you have to make her die on the scene, just like how they did Dewey. R.I.P. Dewey. R.I.P. Dewey. They didn't have to do him that way. I want to get into my favorite scene of this entire movie, the subway scene. So the gang is on their way to go to this like secret memorabilia layer that Ghostface has that they found. And the gang gets split up. And I'm not talking straight down the middle. I'm talking about 3 of them are on one train and another one is by herself on another cart with a new character, and it's Mindy. Mindy is the horror movie buff. She knows that Ethan is a potential suspect, so technically, she's alone. And now you're on this subway. Yes, it's a million of people around, so you should feel safe, but at the same time, that's exactly why you don't feel safe. It's either like around Halloween or on Halloween, so there's multiple people wearing costumes, and there are multiple people wearing the Ghostface mask. So on the subway, the light keeps going on and off, and every time the light cuts on, Ghostface is closer and closer to her. And obviously, I would be in the corner just posted up with my dukes up like, I don't care. The next time this light come on, if you in arm's length, I'm swinging. But Mindy does ultimately end up getting stabbed on this train. And that just goes back to the setting of being in New York. Yes, it's a lot of people around, but in New York City, they keep their head down. They mind their business, okay? So this is absolutely, in my personal opinion, plausible. You know, like, I feel like this could really happen in New York. You could get shanked and nobody would even know who did it, okay? So that's why this is the best scene to me. It was suspenseful. It wasn't ruined on the trailer 100%. And it led to one of the core 4 being stabbed. Now that I got some of my favorite scenes out the way, I do want to get into my pros and cons of the movie. This will be more so of the heavy spoiler part of the video. So if you haven't seen Scream, click off now, come back when you watch it. Or if you don't plan on seeing it or you already seen it, go ahead and continue watching. By the way, hit subscribe because you stayed this long. I know you enjoy the video. Now, let's go ahead and get into my pros and cons. Now, my first pro will obviously be the setting. Y'all have heard me rant and rave about the pros of this setting all video long. So, yes, the setting being in New York is one of my pros. Now, at first, I was honestly nervous when I heard that they were going to be going to New York because I immediately thought about Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan, and I was like, no, why are we doing this? Why are we going to New York? It never works. It's not going to work now. But it actually did work. I honestly feel like they only put it in New York City, though, to have that aspect of killing publicly, as well as let's get something like a bodega scene and like a subway scene. And those were the best scenes of the movie. Another pro that I have for this movie are how they handled the kills. The kills for Scream 6 are elevated, even from Scream 5, okay? Now, it's no Terrifier 2, thank God, though, because we don't need another Terrifier 2. But the kills in here are reasonably gory. I mean, we have dismembered body parts in refrigerators. We have never had that in the Scream franchise. On top of that, like I stated, this was the spoiler section, how they killed Chad. So Chad is fighting off one Ghostface and another Ghostface comes. So now he has two Ghostface on to the left and to the right of him. And I mean, they are stabbing him violently to the front, to the back, to the left, to the right, inside and outside. Like, they did Chad so wrong in this movie. It really pissed me off because, one, he's the only black character, the only biracial character in the movie. He was trying to save the two white girls. Come on, bro. And then they just did him up like that. Like, it really, really, really pissed me off. Up until the very end of the movie, I was still mad because I was replaying that scene in my head. But that means it's a good scene. Like, they even topped how they killed Dewey off in Scream 5. And we all know they did Dewey wrong, bro. You don't do legacy characters like that. The final pro that I have to this movie is the nostalgia. If you are a Scream fan, this moment right here, the killer's lair, where they have all the evidence from all the Woodsboro murders. I mean, Scream 1 through 5. They have everything in this one part of the movie. And it just, you know, like, it's all the Easter eggs, and it just makes you excited as a Scream fan. Like I told y'all, this is my favorite franchise. I was picking out, I'm like, oh, that's Casey Becker's sweater, and oh, there goes her boyfriend, and oh, there goes Stu's robe. And, like, I was just, like, geeked out. Like, that was strictly for the fans. I know it was. They also kept playing the score. I don't know the name of the song, but the song that they played in Scream 1, they kept playing that throughout this movie. And it like I stated, like, it was just very nostalgic for, definitely something for the fans. Now I'm going to get into the cons of this movie. And granted, it's not a lot of cons to this movie. However, the cons are very big. The cons are very big. Okay, now here we go. My cons to this movie. Number 1, the first con is it took too long for the killing to continue. So, of course, we have our first opening scene, but after that, nobody died. I wish I had a timer running. Nobody died for the next, like, 15 minutes, bro. It turned into a CW drama. Like, oh my God, I like Chad, but I can't tell Chad. I want to kiss Chad, but oh no. Oh, my roommate, she got another boyfriend. Oh my God, Sam's dating the cute guy from across the street. Like, oh my God, when is somebody going to die? I come here for the kills. Now, I am all for character development and background stories, but not dating lives, bro, because that had nothing to do with the plot and what's actually going on in the story. Like, we could have done without that. Another thing that I did not like was it was unrealistic. Every time a character got wounded, that character was moving as if they did not just get wounded. Tara got stabbed in the back in the final scene in Act 3, and she was moving like nothing happened. Girl, you got stabbed in the back. Like, you should be paralyzed. Like, okay? Like, your face should look like Kirby's, no teeth. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's not giving realistic. And then that leads into my very final con. It was too many pump fake with the kills. If y'all know what pump fake means, it's like saying, this happened, psych, no it didn't. They were pump faking with a lot of the kills. With, oh, Gail's not dead, we have a faint pulse. Then you did it again. Oh, Mindy's not dead. And then at the very end of the movie, like, girl, you got stabbed in the stomach. Why are you not in a hospital? Why are you not on an IV? Why are you walking around like nothing happened? And then they did it again with Chad. Chad got stabbed up and down. So much so I was about to walk out of the theater just for him to still be alive. Like, usually I would be happy, but I was mad because everybody that they killed off, quote unquote, was never dead. You had like 11 people in this cast, and only like 4 or 5 of them died, not including the open characters. Where's the body count? The thing I want to talk about is the Ghostface killers. Who were the murderers in this movie? I'm a little bit upset at myself because it took me longer than it should have. Because Mindy told us we're in a requel, a remake of a sequel. And in the sequel, Billy Loomis's mom was the murderer to avenge her son Billy's death, right? Now, I should have caught on to that. Because if we're in a remake, then that means, who was the Billy Loomis last episode with these characters anyways? Richie was. So I should have automatically known Richie's dad was going to be a part of the Ghostface killers. And Richie's dad was the cop. Now, I didn't catch on to it until he shot Kirby. And then I was like, oh, there we go. It's him. It's him. Like, duh, right? At that point, duh. I did know that Ethan was a Ghostface because I was like, he's too nice. I'm either going to be sad when he dies or he's going to be one of the killers. But I didn't catch on to the roommate simply because they did do this character right. They gave her the role of the slutty roommate. And of course, the slutty roommate is going to die in the movie. So I really did not pay any attention to her at all. But she's the daughter of the cop. And she was talking about how her brother died. So I was like, I was like, movie bae. I was like, movie bae, how could you let that go over your head? I was a little bit upset with myself. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. Be sure y'all hit the subscribe button if you enjoy my commentary. Give me a thumbs up as well. And drop a comment down below. Scream 6 is now my third favorite on the Scream franchise scale. Obviously, 1996 is the first. Scream 4 is the second. And then Scream 6 will be my third favorite. What are your favorites? List them down below. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And I'll see y'all next time. It's a date.